let's dive into an ancient book that describes a war. But this war isn't fought on some distant battlefield with swords and shields. Nope, it's fought inside the human heart. And it's a story about a conflict that is just as real today as it was thousands of years ago. So let me just ask you a question to get us started. What do you think is humanity's oldest, most destructive problem? I mean, really think about it. Is it greed, injustice, violence? Those are all pretty good guesses, for sure. But they might just be symptoms of something deeper. The ancient prophet Isaiah, he had a simple one-word answer for this. And it's the key to this whole explainer. That one word? Pride. Now, when Isaiah talks about pride, he's not just talking about, being a little arrogant or having a big ego. For him, it's so much bigger than that. He sees it as the fundamental disease of the human condition, really a kind of cosmic rebellion. Here's how he defines it. Pride is humanity's attempt to elevate itself to God's place. It's us trying to climb onto the throne and make ourselves the center of the universe. And according to Isaiah, this is the root cause of basically everything that goes wrong, from idol worship and social injustice all the way to the collapse of entire nations. The stakes couldn't be higher. And Isaiah is crystal clear about how this rebellion is going to end. He says, "The haughty looks of man shall be brought low. The Lord alone will be exalted in that day." This isn't just some vague threat. For Isaiah, it's a promise that the cosmic scales are going to be rebalanced. So, okay, how does this disease of pride actually show up in the real world? Well, Isaiah shows that it's not just some internal feeling. It infects every level of society, from you and me all the way up to the most powerful empires on Earth. And he gives us a whole range of examples. We see it in the vanity of individuals in Jerusalem. We see it in the political scheming of kings like Ahaz, who trusts his own clever alliances way more than he trusts God. And then we see it on a massive scale, in the sheer arrogance of empires like Assyria, Babylon, and Tyre. Take Assyria, for example. They were the military superpower of the day. And Isaiah says their king made a classic mistake. He completely forgot he was just a tool in God's hand and started boasting about his own power, as if he was the one calling all the shots in history. But then you get Babylon, and they take it to a whole other level. This is like the ultimate expression of pride. The king of Babylon doesn't just want power on earth. He literally says, "I will ascend. I will make myself like the Most High." He wants to kick God off the throne and take his place. And it's not just military might either. Isaiah even calls out the commercial pride of Tyre, which was this super wealthy trading hub. The message is pretty clear. No form of human glory, whether it's economic, political, or military, is immune. God has, as Isaiah puts it, purpose to defile the pompous pride of all glory. So, here's the bottom line. The crucial point is this. Whether we're talking about an individual, a king, or a whole empire, the pattern is always the same. Pride reaches for God's throne, and it always ends in ruin. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question. If pride is this universal disease that leads to ruin, what in the world is the cure? How do you solve a problem that runs this deep in the human heart? Well, Isaiah does present a solution, but it is completely paradoxical. The antidote to humanity's ultimate self-help project, pride, is not more human effort. It's something else entirely, something you would never expect. Isaiah introduces this mysterious figure he calls the servant, and the servant is the perfect mirror opposite of pride. Where pride is all about self-exaltation, the servant embodies humility. Where the proud king screams, "I will ascend," the servant is despised and rejected. It is a total and complete reversal. The way Isaiah describes this servant in chapter 53 is just shocking. He doesn't conquer pride with more power, he absorbs its consequences. He is rejected, he's pierced for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. He basically takes the downfall that pride deserves and puts it on his own shoulders, bearing the sin of everyone else. And somehow, in this incredible act, his humility becomes the cure. But Isaiah's not done yet. He uses another really powerful and recurring image to symbolize this new, humble way of being. And it's an image that just turns our entire idea of power and leadership completely upside down. He says that in God's new creation, "and a little child shall lead them." Just think about that for a second. Not a king, Not a general, not a brilliant politician, a child. That one single image captures the radical, world-flipping message at the heart of this book. And Isaiah uses this symbol of a child in a few distinct ways. First, a child's birth, a baby named Emmanuel, is a sign that rebukes a proud king who only relies on his own power. Second, a child leading wild animals symbolizes a world run by humility, not by the law of the jungle. Third, and this is a fascinating twist, he says that when a nation gets totally corrupted by pride, it's judged with immature, childish rulers. And finally, the ultimate hope is that the humble servant will have offspring, a whole new family born from his sacrifice, not from human pride. So why does all this matter? Why does this ancient book still hit so hard today? Because it leads us to this final, breathtaking vision of what truly matters in the end. And it's a vision built completely on humility. Near the very end of the book, Isaiah gives us God's own perspective. After all the judgment, after all the stories of proud kings and crumbling empires, this is what it all comes down to. God says, "This is the one to whom I will look, he who is humble and contrite in spirit." It's not the powerful or the famous or the self-assured who get God's attention. It's the humble. And that leaves all of us with a pretty challenging question, doesn't it? I mean, we live in a world that rewards self-promotion, climbing the ladder, making a name for yourself. But what if Isaiah's right? What if the greatest, most lasting strength isn't found in climbing up at all, but in the radical, world-changing power of humility?